So, jumping straight into the big news. Christopher Nolan's next film is reportedly a vampire horror movie. And this really does excite me. I think it's incredibly exciting to see. And first of all, just how risky is this for Nolan? Following up from Oppenheimer in 2023, obviously that film was such a huge success. Everybody loved it. You could go and talk to a 15-year-old kid, you could go and talk to a 65-year-old woman, and I guarantee everyone in between those ages loved and really adored that film. It did very well at the box office, and critically it performed incredibly well. So it is going to be a risk to see that Nolan is going to be tackling a vampire horror film. First of all, not everybody loves horror. Going to have a little bit of a mixed audience and a mixed bag. And vampires especially, not everybody loves vampires. So it is going to be really interesting to see how Nolan tackles this. A vampire horror film, directed by Christopher Nolan, coming out in 2026 in IMAX? Count me in. And it has just been announced that Tom Holland will be starring in the film alongside Matt Damon, and I cannot wait to see more casting announcements for this film. You can just guarantee that the cast is going to be incredible, and I do not think that the budget and the scale of this film is going to be anything like Oppenheimer and Tenet. And don't get me wrong, by that I don't mean that the film's going to be cheap or the film's going to be low budget. It's still going to have an incredible production to it, and I'm sure the cast will be incredibly stacked like every single Nolan film is. I don't think they'll see the need for a big explosion or some huge set pieces like Tenet and Oppenheimer, so it will probably be smaller in budget because the film might not be guaranteed to perform as well as a Tenet or an Oppenheimer. The script is going to be written by Nolan and his producing partner Emma Thomas, who is also his wife, and we are set for a July 2026 release in the typical IMAX format, with filming set to begin in early 2025. So it is really exciting to see that this film is going into production very soon, and we're just going to hear and see more throughout these coming months, so it's very exciting to see, and I'll keep you guys updated. So how do you guys think that this affects Nolan's legacy as a filmmaker, and will he deliver a vampire horror film? I mean, just imagine the visuals, just visually, this film, it's going to be absolutely incredible. Gladiator 2 is only a few weeks away now, and we have our first official reactions to the film. A secret screening was held at the Paramount's lot in Los Angeles a few days ago, and the first official reactions are out, and they are surprisingly great, which is very surprising to me. After the first trailer, there was a really sour taste that was left in my mouth because the first Gladiator film is legendary to me. It's probably my top 10 favourite films of all time. It's iconic, it's almost untouchable. So to think that Ridley Scott was going to bring out a sequel, that just, it looked terrible, I thought, in the first trailer. I thought the first trailer looked very terrible, to be completely honest. I didn't like it. There was just so many things that were wrong, I thought, from the music to the way that the dialogue was played out and the action sequences and the CGI. It just didn't look right. But I may have to give this film another chance because these reactions are surprisingly great. First of all, let's go through some of them here. Scott Mance says Gladiator 2 is the real deal. Josh Horowitz from MTV says Gladiator 2 is pretty effing great. Gillian Chilling-Green said that the cinematic event of the year is Gladiator 2. Clayton Davis from Variety said welcome back to the effing movies. That sums up Gladiator 2. And I could go on. Yeah, it is strange because Ridley Scott, he hasn't really landed with a film for a long time now. If we think about Ridley Scott's last great film, it's The Martian, which is 2015, nearly a decade ago, 9 years. Prometheus was kind of hot and cold for a lot of people. I personally quite like Prometheus, but I don't think it's a great film by any means. But you are going back to like 2007 when you look at Ridley Scott's filmography to see his last great film, which was American Gangster, previous to The Martian. So yeah, it's a very mixed bag when you come to a Ridley Scott film. You don't know what to expect. Napoleon, The Last Duel, House of Gucci, all very hit and miss. I didn't love any of those in particular. So Gladiator 2, let's hope it delivers. These reactions are great. So let's hope that Gladiator 2 delivers. And into our final piece of movie news for today, we have confirmation that Blade has been removed from the Marvel slate. So it doesn't look like this film is going to be happening anytime soon, and to be completely honest, I do not think this film is going to come out. I cannot see it happening. It was first announced at San Diego Comic-Con in 2019. Mahershala Ali was on the stage, everything looked great. We thought the film was going to be coming out in a few years, and after that, it's just been hit with delay after delay after delay. I guess some of it was to do with the pandemic, and then the strikes, and it has had a hard time with all of that, but there really must be something wrong with this film, that Kevin Feige doesn't have the confidence to greenlight it. And I do understand that Kevin Feige said that they won't be releasing the film until he understands that they have a great script. And that was a few years ago now, so they must be struggling to come up with a great script. And it isn't really that surprising, to be honest, because I think Blade is a hard film to pull off, and I think they understand that. I think they understand that they can't just release a half-assed Blade film. So I honestly don't think it'll happen. 2019 was what? 5 years ago now, nearly 6 years ago, so I don't think it'll happen. And something that I think is worth noting is, have Marvel been influenced by the fact that this Christopher Nolan horror film is set around vampire period, or is set within the vampire world? And Ryan Coogler's new film coming out in March 2025, Sinners, is reportedly very heavily based within the vampire world too. It is really interesting to me, have Marvel seen both of these movies and thought, that's the final straw which broke the camel's back, the Blade? Again, it could have been a bit of a risk, audiences could have been a bit tired of the whole vampire subgenre by then. So I think potentially there is a high chance that Marvel have been influenced by this Christopher Nolan vampire movie news, and the fact that Sinners, Ryan Coogler's upcoming film with Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld, is reportedly a vampire film. So I think it is worth noting that, and I think Marvel have been paying attention to this. And I really would have liked to have seen Mahershala Ali as Blade. I cannot think of a better actor that would portray a modern Blade. I think he's absolutely perfect for the role. He's a fantastic actor, and you do feel for him because he's been waiting all this time, and I would imagine that he's kind of given up at this point. I don't think he'll have much hope for the film to happen after this. But replacing Blade on the 7th of November 2025 is Predator Badlands, directed by Dan Trachtenberg. And Dan Trachtenberg obviously did the previous Predator film, which was Prey. That was a mess. I thought the film was a bit weak, and I definitely didn't love it. The film went straight to Hulu or Disney Plus if you're in the UK, and Predator Badlands will have a typical theatrical release in cinemas, so that is good to see that they are not going to stick to the Hulu and Disney Plus format. But I don't know how I feel about this. On one hand, I adore Predator. The original Predator is probably a top 10, top 15 film for me all time, if not higher. I think it's great. It's the nectar of the gods. I adore that film. But I wasn't fully convinced by Prey. Something felt a little bit off. I thought it was a little bit weak, and I guess if you take it on the side of it was a film for Hulu and Disney Plus, then wow, great. You kind of look at it with a different eye. But yeah, I am just hoping that Predator Badlands is a little bit better, because I still feel like we are on a bit of an uphill battle with Predator. Obviously, due to the Predator in 2018, it really did tank the whole Predator brand and the Predator stock. So I guess to an extent, Prey was great for the fact that it kind of revived the Predator franchise. And it is great to see that we're going to have another Predator film in cinemas, but I am just hoping that Predator Badlands does a little bit more for me, because I'd love to have a new Predator film which I really enjoy. The film is starring Elle Fanning, and I think she's a really solid actress, from Super 8 to The Neon Demon. I can really see her in this role. There was a lot of talk regarding After Alien Romulus, a crossover film between the Predator and Alien franchise. It's a tricky one, because I kind of could see this happening within Disney Plus, but I don't know if Disney would have the balls to actually release this theatrically, just out of how poorly the last AVP franchise and those two films did. So it would be interesting to see. I would really like to see a new Alien vs Predator, but I guess it would be kind of hard with how Prey is set so far in the past, and obviously Alien Romulus is in its own little universe. But I would say never. I think there is a chance we could see it, however small it is, but it is worth keeping an eye open, because I think that could happen. And Fede Alvarez, he seemed like he was up for it. So tell me what you think about Prey and Blade being axed from the Marvel slate. Do you think Blade will happen, or is it gone forever? So thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Movie News Update. As always guys, there'll be more videos coming very soon. Tell me what you think about today's topics down below in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I'll see you next time.